We all remember Ohio State's Heisman Trophy winners: Les Horvath, Vic Janowitz, Howard Hopalong Cassidy, Archie Griffin twice, Eddie George, and Troy Smith. But what about the ones that came close but didn't quite win the award? For this video, I want to look at all the past Ohio State players who finished in the top 10 of the Heisman Trophy voting according to Heisman.com. Ohio State's first player to finish in the top 10 of the Heisman Trophy voting was Gene Fickett in 1942. 2 years before Ohio State's first winner, Les Horvath, in 1944. Fickett was not particularly close to winning the award, finishing 8th with 65 points. For reference, that year's winner Frank Seekridge of Georgia accumulated 1,059 points. Nonetheless, it should be noted that Fickett played a part in two other Buckeyes winning the Heisman Trophy, as he was Ohio State's running back coach from 1951 to 1959, with Vic Janowitz and Howard Cassidy both having been running backs that won the award in 1954 and 1957 respectively. Warren Amling managed to finish 7th on the ballot in 1945 as the only offensive lineman to finish in the top 8 of the Heisman Trophy voting that year. Amling accumulated 49 total points, whereas the winner, Doc Blanchard of Army, got 792 points. Amling is in the College Football Hall of Fame, is the only Hall of Fame inductee to have started in college basketball's Final Four, having been a dual-sport athlete while at Ohio State. It wasn't until 1956 in which Ohio State had another player finish in the top 10 of the Heisman Trophy voting without winning the award. That player was offensive lineman Jim Parker. Parker, much like Amling, was the only offensive lineman to finish in the top 10 on the ballot that year. Much like Amling, Parker also finished 8th with 248 points, with the winner, Notre Dame quarterback Paul Hornung, finishing with 1,066 points. Parker is in the both college football and NFL Hall of Fames, having been the first four-time offensive lineman inducted in the NFL Hall of Fame and being widely considered to be one of the greatest offensive linemen of all time. Fullback Bob White came considerably closer to winning the Heisman Trophy than Fickett, Amling, and Parker, finishing 4th overall in 1958. He still didn't come close to winning the award though, finishing with 365 points, whereas Army running back Pete Dawkins, the winner of the award, finished with 1,394 points. 2 years later, in 1960, Tom Matte finished 7th with 165 points. Matte went on to spend 11 years in the NFL, all at the Baltimore Colts. He's famous for scoring 3 touchdowns for the Colts in the 1968 NFL Championship game, a 34-0 win over the Cleveland Browns. Fullback Bob Ferguson was barely edged up by Syracuse running back Ernie Davis for the 1961 Heisman Trophy. Davis was the first ever African-American winner of the award. Ferguson finished second with 771 points, whereas Davis finished with 824 points. Ferguson finished 53 points behind him. He was 53 points with him becoming the first ever African-American winner of the award. Davis's win over Ferguson stands the third smallest win in Heisman Trophy history. Ferguson, however, was the first ever African-American to win both the UPI College Player of the Year and the Maxwell Award. Ferguson was also only the second Ohio State player to win the Maxwell Award, behind only Howard Cassidy in 1955. 1969 was a Buckeye-filled Heisman top 10, with Rex Kern, Jim Otis, and Jack Tatum all finishing within the top 10. Otis, a fullback, finished in the middle of the three Buckeyes, finishing 7th overall with 121 points. In his 3-year career with the Buckeyes, Otis led the team in rushing every year. Otis went on to spend 8 years in the NFL, including a Pro Bowl season in 1975 with the St. Louis Cardinals. Rex Kern and Jack Tatum were not only Heisman Trophy finalists in 1969, but also in 1970. Tatum's a guy I think most people should be relatively familiar with. Despite having played in the NFL in the 1970s, Tatum is still relevant and well known for his violent hits and his highlight tapes on YouTube with thousands of views. In 1969, Tatum finished 10th overall in the Heisman Trophy voting with 105 votes, despite being a safety. He came back and finished 7th in 1970 with 173 points. During his 10-year NFL career, Tatum went on to appear in 3 Pro Bowls, all with the Oakland Raiders. Tatum is a member of the College Football Hall of Fame and is known as one of the hardest hitters in NFL history. Kern, in a lot of ways, was Ohio State's first true quarterback. Their head coach Woody Hayes was well known for his conservative offense that heavily relied on the run game. You can argue Kern was the first full-time standout quarterback at Ohio State. In 1969, Kern finished 3rd in the Heisman Trophy voting with 856 points, with the winner, Oklahoma quarterback Steve Owens, accumulating 1,488 points. In 1970, Kern finished 5th with only 188 points. Interestingly enough, Kern went on to spend 4 years in the NFL, where he spent his whole time as a defensive back. He went on to get inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2007. 1969 wasn't the only year that saw Ohio State finish with three top 10 Heisman Trophy finishes. 1973 saw this exact same thing. Ohio State's last finisher among the three finished in sixth place. That player was linebacker Randy Gradishaw. Gradishaw finished with 282 points and was the highest among any defensive player. Gradishaw went on to have a prolific NFL career, appearing in 7 Pro Bowls for the Denver Broncos. Gradishaw is in the College Football Hall of Fame. There's legitimate argument for him to be in the NFL Hall of Fame. Finishing one spot ahead of Gradishaw in fifth with 326 points was some guy named Audrey Griffin. All he did was go on to win the Heisman Trophy each of the next 2 years, becoming the first and so far only two-time Heisman Trophy winner, along with becoming one of the greatest college football players of all time. Ohio State's top finisher in the 1973 Heisman race, believe it or not, was an offensive lineman. That offensive lineman was John Hicks, and he finished second only to Penn State running back John Cappelletti. Hicks was the last runner-up to be an offensive lineman, finishing with 524 points, with Cappelletti getting 1,052. Interestingly enough, Hicks actually won the Midwest region vote, with Cappelletti finishing third in the region. In addition to being the Heisman runner-up, Hicks won both the Outland Trophy and the Lombardi Award and is in the College Football Hall of Fame. Ohio State's next three top 10 Heisman Trophy finishes were all done by the same person, quarterback Arch Schlichter. Arch Schlichter is probably more well known at this point for his various off-the-field issues, for being a relatively big bust in the NFL draft after being drafted 4th overall. Despite all of this, Schlichter was an incredible college quarterback for Ohio State. He was a 4-year starter and 3-time top 10 Heisman Trophy finisher, with top 10 finishes in 1979, 1980, and 1981. In 1979, he finished 4th with 251 points. In 1980, he finished 6th with 158 points. In 1981, he finished 5th with 149 points. Schlichter finished his Ohio State career owning most of the career quarterback records before J.T. Barrett was able to break most of them. Doug Flutie winning the 1984 Heisman Trophy over Ohio State running back Keith Byars still has some Buckeye fans bitter. Many believe Byars to be the leader for the award. That is until Flutie completed what is known as Hail Flutie against the Miami Hurricanes in the final week of the regular season. This is considered to be one of the greatest plays in college football history. Many believe it separated Flutie from Byars for the award. Flutie accumulated 2,240 points, while Byars accumulated 1,251. Byars went on to have a 13-year-long NFL career that included a Pro Bowl appearance in 1993. Until Chase Young managed to do so this past year, Ohio State's last defensive player to finish in the top 10 of the Heisman race was linebacker Chris Spielman. Spielman is certainly one of the more beloved Buckeyes in history. He finished 10th in the 1986 race with 60 points, and 6th in 1987 with 110 points, being the only defensive player to finish in the top 10 that year. Spielman finished his Ohio State career as a 2-time consensus All-American and a Lombardi Award winner. Spielman went on to play in the NFL for 10 years, including 4 Pro Bowl appearances. In 1995, Eddie George won the Heisman Trophy. He was, however, not the only Ohio State player to finish in the top 10 of the voting. His quarterback, Bobby Hoying, finished 10th in the voting with 28 points. He even received 9 second-place votes. After his senior year, Hoying won the William V. Campbell Trophy, also known as the Academic Heisman. Hoying spent 6 years in the NFL between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Oakland Raiders before his career came to an end. The following year, in 1996, Ohio State had yet another offensive lineman to finish in the top 10 of the Heisman voting. That man is someone who some consider to be the greatest offensive lineman of all time. That man was Orlando Pace. Pace finished 4th in the voting with 599 points. That year's winner, Florida quarterback Danny Warfield, had 1,363 points. Pace was the only offensive lineman to finish in the top 10. Pace was also the last offensive lineman to finish in the top 5 of the voting. Throughout Pace's Ohio State career, he won the Outland Trophy once and the Lombardi Award twice. Pace went on to become a 7-time Pro Bowler in the NFL. He's been inducted in both the College Football and the NFL Hall of Fame. In 1998, Ohio State quarterback Joe Germain managed to sneak into the top 10, finishing 9th with 43 votes. He even managed to receive 2 first-place votes. Germain went on to win the Chicago Tribune Silver Football in 1998, given annually to the Big Ten's best player. He went on to spend 4 years in the NFL following the conclusion of his Ohio State career. The Buckeyes did not have another top 10 Heisman finisher after Germain outside of 2006 winner Troy Smith until 2012 when quarterback Braxton Miller finished 5th with 144 points. Miller also finished in the top 10 in 2013, finishing ninth with 91 points. Braxton Miller is an all-time fan favorite at Ohio State and had a roller coaster of a career. He was Ohio State's starting quarterback in 2011, 2012, and 2013. Was even the Big Ten MVP in 2012 and 2013, but got hurt in the preseason of 2014 and missed the whole season. He moved to wide receiver for 2015 and went on to spend his whole NFL career as a wide receiver. It felt like JT Barrett was Ohio State's starting quarterback since 1960 when his career finally ended in 2017. But truth be told, his first year starting in Ohio State was in 2014, and it was a magnificent year for the redshirt freshman Barrett. Barrett, of course, replaced Miller after he got hurt, and all he did was finish fifth in the Heisman race with 78 points, despite having his season get off to a bit of a rocky start and getting hurt in the season finale against Michigan. Barrett came back healthy and started most of the next 3 seasons, but never finished in the top 10 of the Heisman Trophy again. He did, however, win the Big Ten MVP in 2016 and has bounced around practice squads in the NFL since leaving Ohio State. Despite playing in an offense that severely underperformed in 2015, Ezekiel Elliott still managed to perform at a very high level. He finished 8th in the Heisman race with 57 points. Elliott is a guy that had the talent to win the award, but unfortunately Ohio State's offense that year didn't showcase it even as close to how much they should have. Elliott's talent has shown in the NFL, considering he's one of the best running backs in the game right now, and likely will continue to be for years to come. From a statistical standpoint, in 2018, Dwayne Haskins put up the single greatest season in Ohio State history for a quarterback. He broke the single season passing yards and passing touchdown record, and quite frankly, shattered both of them. At the time, many thought that Haskins should have won the Heisman over eventual winner Kyler Murray and runner-up Tua Tagovailoa, especially considering the fact Haskins had more passing yards and passing touchdowns than both. Nonetheless, Haskins finished third with 783 points, while Murray won with 2,167 points. Haskins left for the NFL following the season, where he heads into his second season in the NFL as a starting quarterback for the Washington Redskins. Finally, this past year, Ohio State finished with 3 Heisman top 10 finishes. Those players were quarterback Justin Fields, who finished third with 747 points, defensive end Chase Young, who finished fourth with 643 points, and running back J.K. Dobbins, who finished 6th with 114 points. The winner of the award was LSU quarterback and ex-Ohio State quarterback Joe Burrow. Young was the first defensive Heisman finalist since Manti Te'o in 2012. Young was also recently selected second overall in the 2020 NFL Draft by the Washington Redskins, with Dobbins going in the second round to the Baltimore Ravens. Fields returns to Ohio State next season as the Heisman favorite alongside Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Fields looks to become Ohio State's first Heisman Trophy finisher since Troy Smith in 2006.